Hi, I'm Liz with Liz's Crafts, and I'm glad you're here watching my video today. I will be bringing you 4 Christmas DIYs. On to DIY number 1. So for this one here, I just have one of the smaller coffee cans, and it's not metal. And I'm just going to measure it and see where the halfway point is. And I'm just going to mark that with my pencil. So I'm just going to put little marks all the way around the can. And then once I have that done, I'm going to turn my ruler around. And this is one of those little thin plastic rulers that can bend and works perfectly for this. And I'm just putting a solid line around it. And then I'm going to take my little X-Acto knife and I'm going to cut it. We're going to use the bottom half of the can, and we can use the top half for another DIY. So I have this cork board. It's pretty thick. It is pliable. I have no idea where I got it. Probably at a, I don't know, maybe Goodwill or something like that. So I'm just putting hot glue around the edge of the can, the open edge, and I'm going to put that right in the center of my cork board. Now you don't have to use cork board. You could use a cardboard, thick cardboard, or whatever else you have on hand, or even a piece of wood. So I'm just putting my hot glue all the way around the can just to secure it onto my board. And I saw this when I was watching Hot Humble Pie, which is Holly. And go look her up. She's on YouTube and has some great crafts. So I'm just taking my matte spray paint from Rust-Oleum and I'm going to spray the whole thing. Now I have this gift trim from Hobby Lobby from last year when it was on sale. And really pretty. There's 3 different cords there, and it has beads and a little Christmas tree in black and white plaid. So I'm going to glue that on my can there. And there's a side of the can that doesn't look as good as the rest of the can. And that's actually what's going to be the front of my can, because that's going to be covered up by our florals. So I'm just going to wrap this around it about 3 times. I'm going to cut it off and then tie a knot in the end so everything stays together. And then I'm going to hot glue that onto my tin, or it's not a tin, cardboard can. And like I said, that's going to be the front of our hat. So I have these leaves that I got from Michael's. They were 50% off in the fall section last week. So I'm just going to glue a couple of those on here. And I bought the white one specifically for Christmas DIYs. I didn't want the orange ones. So I thought this would go perfect for our winter decorations. So I'm just hot gluing it on to the hat. So there you have it. It's already looking cute, but we have a lot more stuff to put on it. So I made this bow out of burlap, and it was the burlap ribbon that you get at the Dollar Tree. I've had it for probably about 10 years, I guess. So I'm just going to hot glue that in between where those 2 leaves are. Once I get that on there, I'm going to take these red picks. I also got these at Michael's at the same time I got the leaves. And I specifically picked the red because I thought it would be good for the Christmas crafts. So I'm going to put about 3 of those on my hat. And I'm just sticking them up behind the bow and hot gluing them down. Now you'll have to tell me out of these 4 DIYs which one is your favorite. I like them all, but I do have a favorite, and I'll let you know towards the end. I have no idea what these red picks are supposed to be, but they're pretty. I do like them. And now I have this piece of a plastic pine cone that has lots of glitter on it that I gotten from probably the Dollar Tree probably 10 years ago. So this is just a piece of it back towards the bottom part. And I'm just going to glue that in the center of the bow. Kind of makes it look almost like a flower. And then I have these little red berries. And I'm going to glue those right into the middle of the pine cone. Now I have these gold picks, also from the Dollar Tree from 10 years ago. I'm trying to use up my stash. So I'm just going to hot glue those back behind the bow on either side. And we're going to add one last one on. I think this turned out really nice. So there's our snowman hat. So pretty. Just going to turn it around so you can see it. And since we decorated on the end that wasn't so pretty, all of it looks pretty. What do you guys think of this one? I like it. I like it a lot. And here it is. I'm going to show you the different views of it sitting on my table. And now on to DIY number 2. So for this DIY, I also saw Holly from Hot Humble Pie make this. She made it with the smaller popsicle sticks, but I'm going to use the medium-sized craft sticks. And these are just ones I had on hand, not sure where I got them, and I'm going to use wood glue and hot glue to put these together. And when you do use the hot glue and the wood glue together, you don't want them to touch. And you really want to put your wood glue on first because it takes a while to dry, and then put your hot glue on second. I see that a few times. I did it the opposite, and it could dry out before you get your pieces together. So just keep that in mind. So we're going to put 4 of the sticks on each side, and we're making a tree. So we have 1 stick at the bottom, and then we're going to do 4 sticks for the sides. I'm just spreading those apart a little bit because they were a little too close together. So you use the wood glue for the permanent hold and the hot glue for the temporary hold so that I could do this video. So we have 3 on each side so far. We're going to add 1 more to each side. And once we get those on, our first tree will be complete, and we're going to make 3 trees. I'm going to make one with 3 sticks on each side and another one with 2 sticks on each side. And then we're going to glue those 2 tips together. And that'll form the top of our tree. Now once we get these on, then I just have these sticks left over that have been cut down. And I'm just, I turned my tree over to the back, and we're going to glue these on the back side. So just kind of turning them and angling them every which way. Just whatever you think looks good. Pretty easy project, and it turns out so cute. And if you have any of your sticks that when you turn it over to the right side are poking out a little bit, just trim those up with your scissors. I just turned it over for a minute just to see what it looked like. I'm just going to put this last piece on the top. And there it is, so cute. So now we've made all 3 of them, and I'm going to take my Kilts enamel paint. I just had some left over in a bucket, and I just put it in an empty container so it'd be easy to handle. And I have this strip of wood here that's going to be our base. So I'm just going to paint everything in this white paint. So I'm going to paint the top and the sides of the board. I'm not going to paint the bottom. I'm going to set that aside to dry, and we're going to work on the trees. So on the trees, I'm going to paint everything. The front, the back, the sides, the top, the bottom, paint it all. And it doesn't have to be perfect. This is like a little rustic 3-tree Christmas decor piece. So all of our trees are painted, and we're going to take the two tallest trees and we're going to glue them to the back portion of our stand. And since only the sides of those popsicle sticks are sticking out the furthest, that's all I'm going to put the glue on. Going to hold that until it sets up for a little bit. Then we're going to go on to the medium tree and do the same thing. Now for the small tree, we're going to put it in front of our stand in the middle. So for this one, the back stick is the one sticking out the furthest. So I'm going to put a strip of glue, and this is where you should put your wood glue on first and then your hot glue, because I did have to glue this a couple of times because I did it backwards, because your hot glue will dry up and then it won't stick. So there we have all the trees on our stand, and we're going to start decorating. So I'm just using some more of these leaves that I used in the previous DIY. I'm going to put 4 down on the base. I'm going to put the 2 biggest leaves on the ends and have them poking out a little bit. So the one I just put on, I have it poking out the back, and the other one I have it poking out the front a little bit. The front, the side, and the back. And then I'm going to take my 2 medium leaves and I'm going to put those in the middle. So one facing one way, and then I'll put the other one facing the other way. Actually, I guess I have 3 medium leaves. Or maybe it's 3 large leaves and 2 mediums. I guess that's what it is. So I put the 3 large ones down first, and then I'm going to put 2 mediums down. And I kind of alternate the way they're facing. So I'm just taking this pine cone that I had from a pick years ago, and I'm just going to hot glue that onto my piece here, just trying to decide where I want it. So once I figure out where I want it placed, then I'll just hot glue it down. Then I have these little nuts here from the same pick that I had taken apart, and we're just going to slide those up under that middle-sized leaf. Put the end of it in there and have it poking out. I think this turns out so cute. Now I have this plastic walnut from the same pick, and I decide, you know, if I cut this in half, I'll have 2 pieces that I can lay down, and it'll lay down a lot better. So I take my little X-Acto knife, and I just go in between the pieces here and just cut it apart. Please be careful if you're going to do something like this so that you don't cut yourself. I didn't cut myself, amazingly enough. So I just take my time with it, cut it in half, and then we're going to glue each half down on our project. So now we have 2 walnuts instead of 1. Yay! So I'm just going to put some hot glue around the edges. And then I'm just going to lay it down on my leaf. Just like that. And do the same thing with the other piece. And we're going to put it on the other side. Now we're going to add our 2 small leaves. So I put one between the walnut and the pine cone on the one side, and the other one on the other side of the other walnut half. And now we're going to add these red pieces from Michael's that we used in our previous DIY. Just going to hot glue the ends of these up under the leaves. And you can have these sticking out further than your stand. In fact, I think that looks nice. Just trying to decide where I want it. Once I figure that out, then I glue it down. That one I'm going to put in front and have it sticking out, hanging over the stand. So I will try to put a link to the cordless glue gun in the description box. I have a hard time with links, so I'm not sure if I'll be able to do it or not. Now, I am an affiliate with Amazon, so I do get a little percentage if you click on the links and buy the items. So I'm just going to add a few of these gold berries. Again, I've had them for probably 10 years. I cut some of them down and use smaller pieces. And now I have that cut down pine cone again, like we used in the previous DIY. So I'm going to take some more of those little red berries and put it in the center of the pine cone, like I did for the Snowman Hat. Just trying to decide where I want it. Looks good over there beside the walnut. And then I decide we need one more piece of this red floral. So we're going to add that underneath the pine cone. Let me know if you plan on making any of these DIYs. And there it is. And now it is on my table. Isn't it pretty? I think it turned out great. And now on to DIY number 3. So for this one here, I have the Peace on Earth sign that I got from Dollar Tree last year. And I gave it a coat of Rust-Oleum Gold Metallic Finish spray paint. And then we're going to take this white paint marker and I'm going to put stitching all around it. Now I'm not real good with this, but I think it turned out pretty good. Kelly Barlow, she does, her signature thing is the stitching, and she does it with a small paintbrush and paint, and she does an excellent job. So I have this piece of cedar, and I picked the bark off of it. It didn't have very much, but it was kind of yucky looking, so I picked that off, and I did spray it with the semi-gloss clear spray paint from Rust-Oleum, the front and the back. And we're going to put our Peace on Earth on the top, the widest part of the board. And then I printed out the words to I Heard the Bells on Christmas Day. It's one of my favorite songs for the holiday season. And I just use regular printer paper and I just rip the edges. And this is the words from Casting Crowns. And I have this Distress ink from Tim Holtz. And I'll try to put the link to my affiliate site for this, but I don't know if it'll work. It didn't for the other videos that I put it in, so I don't know. Anyway, I'm just distressing around the edges of this, and then I am scrunching it up a couple times. I want to get some wrinkles in it. And then I want to highlight those wrinkles with my Distress ink. So very lightly distressing it because I don't want to cover up the words or anything. So I'm using very little ink. Putting it on my brush and then dabbing it on another piece of paper before I put it on this. And you can see it's just slightly distressed where it's wrinkled. Okay, so we're going to put our Peace on Earth. I'm just checking to see if my stitching is dry. And we're going to put it on with the wood glue, because I do want it to have a permanent hold. I'm just going to flip it over and then hold it up over my piece of wood until I decide where exactly I want to lay it down. Once I get it laid down, I'm just going to press it down with my hands, and then I'm going to put some heavy objects on top of it. I'm going to take my Mod Podge and the words that I printed out, and on the back of it, I'm going to put the Mod Podge. Just going to flip that over and put it on the front of our piece there, underneath the Peace on Earth words. I'm going to smooth it down. And then I'm going to touch up some places that don't have the Mod Podge on or didn't get enough. And there it is. We're going to flip it over. And I don't want to be held liable for any copyright laws because I do want to sell this piece. So I printed up, you know, where the song and all that came from, and I'm putting Mod Podge on it, and I'm just going to put it on the back of this. Then I'm going to take this piece, well, okay. So I'm going to get my husband to put some eye hooks in the back of this at the top, and then put some wire in between it, and that's how it's going to be hung up. It's not real heavy, but yeah, I don't want to use hot glue or anything like that. So I'm going to take this outside and I'm going to spray it with the semi-gloss matte spray on the front and the back. So there it is, hanging on my wall. I love it. I love cedar. Ooh. So now on to our last DIY, and number 4. So we're going to use 12 tumbling tower blocks, and we're going to use 4 of the 1 gallon paint stir sticks, and we're going to cut 2 of them into pieces. And we're going to use wood glue to put this together, and hot glue. So we're going to make 4 sets of these right here that you see me doing. And then we're going to use 4 single tumbling tower blocks. Now I took this 80 grit sandpaper and I sanded off where the ruler was on these stir sticks, so they were less noticeable. So I have this silicone mat, and you get these 3 in a package from Amazon, and I will try to put the link in the description box for those. They're pretty inexpensive, but they work great for painting and gluing, especially hot gluing. It won't stick to it. And in the paint, you just take it in your sink and wipe it off. So we're going to put these together. Now, I cut my stir sticks down to about 9 inches. And I want to find the center, which of course is 4.5 inches. And then the stir sticks themselves are 1 inch wide. So I'm marking the 4-inch and the 5-inch section, and that's where I want to glue these on, in between the 4 and 5-inch section of the longer piece, because we do want these to be even. I'm just going to put some wood glue in the center, and then a little bit of hot glue dots on each end, and we're going to glue those down. Then I'm going to erase the little marks that I made on it because we don't want those seen. And I didn't know if the paint would cover it up or not. So I figure better safe than sorry. So we're going to do the same thing to the other 2 sticks. You want to make sure that you have your numbers all on the same side, because that's going to be the back of this. And can you guess what we're making? You'll be able to in a minute. Probably right now. That's right, you guessed it, a snowflake. Now we're going to take those 4 individual tumbling tower blocks, and we're going to glue those onto these pieces right here. And we're going to go down about a half an inch from the end. And there we have those. And now we're going to glue our two bigger pieces together. So I just put a square of wood glue and then a dot of hot glue in the center there. And then we're going to put these on so that they're opposite of each other. And this is the back side of the snowflake. So we're going to flip it over and then we're going to put our other pieces on. Now I did cut off about a quarter, no, about a, well, I don't know, about a quarter of an inch, I guess, maybe a little more, or a half an inch off of the longer side of these pieces to even them out, because otherwise they just don't look good, because you do want them to be even. So I'm just placing them where I need them to be, and then we're going to glue these down. Again, using the wood glue and hot glue. I think this piece turned out good too, and I actually like all four of these DIYs, but I do kind of have a favorite. So you'll have to let me know which one is your favorite. So now again, I'm going to take my Kilts enamel paint, and I'm just going to lightly brush the paint over the whole piece, the front, the sides, and the back. And I'm just going to use my fan brush to do this. It's one of my favorite paint brushes to do like the dry brush effect. Do you have a favorite brush? If so, what do you do with it? Is it a dry brush, or do you use it for details, or what do you use it for? So I want to have some of that wood showing through. So again, like I said, I'm just lightly brushing the paint on. And there it is, all done, the front and the back and the sides, everything. So don't show it, but I do put a little jute hanger on the back. And there it is, hanging up on my wall. Isn't that cute? I love it. Okay, so here's all four DIYs, and mine, the favorite, is A Piece on Earth, because I just love that song. Again, I'm Liz with Liz's Crafts, and if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please consider doing so and share it with your friends and family, and give me a thumbs up or comment if you like what you